Hello and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening news, broadcasting live and available on demand on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. It's time to queer up the news. It is Thursday, September 21st, 2023. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
That opening voice is so sexy. I hope I can meet the person who did it someday. I'm out South Florida senior reporter John Hayden. Al has the night off, and this evening we bring you the news of and perspective representing the LGBTQ+ community from South Florida, America, and across the planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ+ news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network is a non-profit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ+ community. Our mission is to support the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our Black community, Latino, lesbians and queer women, trans, students and youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ+ media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating 38 years of the LGBTQ+ experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ+ and broader community.
Well, let's welcome anchor J.D. Danner. J.D. is a South Florida-based songwriter and performing artist. She hosted her own internet talk show called That's Life from 2007 to 2010. During quarantine, she revamped the show into a podcast called The Rainbow Remix, bringing on LGBTQ+ community game changers. JD co-hosts this podcast with Denise Warner, who is in the London, United Kingdom. The London? Boy, I'm good at that. Welcome, JD.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be back. It's been a while. And yeah, it's great. Thanks for mentioning the podcast. We're revamping some of our social media and our website. So we have some exciting guests coming up. We're in our best of season right now. So we're hitting fall.
Yeah, and you've got the best glasses at the table tonight. Sorry, Bobby. Speaking of, let's welcome anchor Dr. Bobby Huen. He is a certified civil and family mediator and a founder of BH Conflict Resolution Services. Originally from Hong Kong and having grown up across the world, he offers a global perspective on current events. Welcome, Bobby.
Hey, well, thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Love it. Let's welcome anchor Jonathan Casanas, a board member of Forward Miami. He is also one of the producers of Gay Ocho Festival, the largest Latin diversity and inclusion festival in the country. Good evening, Jonathan.
It's me. It's my voice. I'm the guy in the opening credits.
Wait, you're the guy in the
I'm
opening?
the guy.
Oh my God.
I heard you wanted to meet me.
I did.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you can do some voiceover work after the show.
I could.
Whoa.
Yes, baby.
Let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 9 books. I haven't even read 9 books. His entertainment coverage, including celebrity interviews, runs in a variety of print and online publications. Welcome, Gregg.
I'm glad to be here. And what about my glasses? Never mind.
Those. Sorry.
What about my glasses?
He's got the... I don't think LASIK counts. We are the reporters of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we bring you the queer headlines. The LGBTQ+ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Wednesday, September 21st. And we begin by queering up drag culture. Our house reaches settlement with state of Florida over drag brunch case. A Miami restaurant has settled a legal dispute over a drag queen show with the state of Florida. This ends a year-long, highly politicized case as Governor Ron DeSantis accused the venue of trying to sexualize children. The owners of Our House agreed to pay a $10,000 fine to end the dispute. The owners say the payment of the fine did not result from the finding of any violation of any administrative or criminal laws, saying, quote, "We are very happy that the settlement contains no admission or finding of guilt for Our House. Furthermore, we are also pleased to confirm that the state's extensive undercover investigation of Our House found no unlawful sexually explicit content at Our House shows," end quote. The Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation filed a complaint against the restaurant in July of last year, accusing the restaurant of exposing minors to sexually explicit drag shows and violating Florida's decency laws. The state agency, which is part of the DeSantis administration, sought to revoke the restaurant's liquor license, a move DeSantis and the venue said would put Our House out of business. Our House owners once again clarified their drag performance shows were never specifically intended for minors, but that a few parents in the past had, quote, felt they were qualified to decide what was appropriate entertainment for their children and brought their family to our shows, end quote. Well, and that's it, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Parents decided to bring their children. You know, then I saw this was about a year ago, 14 months ago. The video that started this was a little girl. She was probably like maybe 5 or 6 tops. And she's like dancing outside. They were on the outside patio and a drag queen's performing and she bends down and she plays with her a little bit. But that's it. There was nothing sexual about it. And the little shade thrown by Our House in the statement, the extensive undercover investigation, the state tried everything they could to shut this business down. And they realized they'll be in court for years. They'll probably lose. And it's really just not worth it. The political points have been scored. And there's not much more to do. Now, the case, of course, a broader ban on drag is working its way through the courts, not only in Florida District Federal Court, but also through other districts throughout the country. Because where Florida leads the deplorable way, other red states will follow.
Right now, there's at least 2 that are blocked by the federal courts. One in, I believe, in Tennessee, where there's one county that says that they're trying to enforce it because it doesn't apply to their county, and then the federal judge is like, oh, no, you didn't, and slap that down too. And the other case is progressing in Orlando, where Hamburger Mary's Orlando is leading the way. Now, let's face it, this is extortion, plain and simple. This is extortion. I mean, they keep talking about parental choice, right? Parents chose to bring their kids to a drag show. So if you don't like drag shows, don't bring your kids to drag shows. But this is not about actual parental choice. This is about red states governors and legislators trying to force their choice on people who are not like them.
Well, and if things continue moving in the direction that they are moving with campaign funders jumping ship, Governor Delusional may be out of business as well. That'd be really nice. Of course, that just means that Broodmare Casey will have to revive her OnlyFans page.
Why? Why are you putting that image?
It's bunions and corns on her foot show. That's basically what it is.
Greg,
okay.
You for the brain beat.
All right, we're gonna bring this back in here. Jonathan, what have you got?
No, I just want to say, shout out to Athena Dion and shout out to Rocco and his husband. Good friends of mine. I've been supporting them for years. They are part of our festival, so our partnership, we hurt as much as they did, and it's nice to know that they're past this, and it's good to know that our battle here in Florida with the governor is going to spread, and the rest of these issues are going to be ironed out just as ours did as well. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really important too that there was no guilt found in any of that, because that really was, I think, said a huge statement to that, because as much as they were trying to shut this down or to make it look like it was something that was so terrible for children, there was nothing wrong there. And the fact that the parents brought the children there that just said it all. So yeah.
We talk about a $10,000 fine, and it doesn't really sound like a whole lot when you're doing a business that sells, probably $15 craft cocktails and stuff like that. But believe me, it's worth it. Our House is awesome. But it wasn't just a $10,000 fine. It was, for our house personally, they probably already had, I've been working with, keeping tabs on this story, I was working with their PR firm that they had to hire. I don't know if they hired them or just had to use them a lot more, but either way, those things bill by the hour. Their legal fees bill by the hour. So even though they may have already had a lawyer, they still had to pay them a lot more to get them through this. And there's other damage that's been done, but it's not irrevocable. But there's going to be, the Christmas drag show that came down and Republicans manufactured a controversy out of that last year. Not even coming to Fort Lauderdale. Not coming to Miami this year. Not coming anywhere in the state of Florida. Governor DeSantis and his fascist cronies in the legislature have said, we don't want drag people and we're going to make it as horrible and terrible for you as we can. And then they did it. And now they're staying away. But we're not alone. We can fight this. We are already seeing, drag shows back at Hamburger Mary's. Hopefully this will be the same for Pride when it comes around, because we had to de-dragify Prides this last season. So hopefully this is the beginning of the state trying to save face and we can go back to what life was, which is where we're treated, like regular citizens.
And next, let's queer up entertainment. GLAAD and Fran Drescher says the Hollywood strike could silence LGBTQ plus stories. GLAAD and Fran Drescher, the president of SAG-AFTRA, that's a mouthful, are voicing concerns that LGBTQ plus stories in film are at risk due to actors and writers' strikes. As GLAAD issued its annual report highlighting the representation of LGBTQ plus characters in film, Drescher said, quote, "Right now, there's a very tiny but loud segment of our population that's hard at work spreading hate and fear, while attempting to squash all storytelling that showcase the full, beautiful reality of the human experience," end quote. Along with Drescher, President and CEO of GLAAD Sarah Kate Ellis warned a prolonged strike could reverse the progress made. Ellis says the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers must reach a fair deal with striking writers and performers. She emphasized the importance of creative writing and said the writers should return to work as soon as possible. So the progress of LGBTQ plus programs stays on track. The Writers Guild of America has been on strike since May 2nd. It seeks fair wages, protection against artificial intelligence disrupting writing practices, more transparent streaming data, better residuals, and more. Most of the Guild's proposals have been swiftly rejected by the AMPTP. Well, as someone who is also a part-time writer, and there are another writer on the panel, I think their fears are justified. I mean, we are talking about now what? You can do a full body scan and they just use AI to make you act forever and ever and never pay you a cent for it. They can just use your likeness. I mean, the AI generated scripts can happen once AI is advanced enough. I mean, we're talking about essentially cost-free creative work for corporations who don't want to pay anyone to be creative. And that sucks. And also, I wish that I could, but I could not read that quote in Fran Drescher's voice. I wish that I wish that I could read it in the nanny's voice.
Yeah, the nanny's voice.
Only the nanny can read that quote in the nanny's voice, honestly,
I mean, when she was elected as president, I was like, what? The nanny is now our president?
She's doing a great job leading SAG-AFTRA through this, because this is the first writer strike since the merger. SAG used to be its own union and AFTRA used to be its own union. They merged about 10 years ago. This is the first time they've ever done this united, and I think it's holding people together. But I want to do some more comments before I get into the bottom.
I just think, am I the only one that's like, not too worried? I feel like it's a little bit of fear mongering. Like, I don't think the LGBT stories are going to be silenced. I think it was 28.5% of movies last year had a character, an LGBTQ character in it, which was historic. It was the most, a representation we've ever had. I think all representation is going to fall short this year, being that there is no writing. So it doesn't matter who the representation is needed, we're going to fall short on that. And we're still years away from AI creating this type of dialogue that really means something and is heartfelt and is actually that creative. But I don't feel like she should have said something like that and kind of put us in this kind of fear where we're going to lose all hope for the LGBTQ plus community.
Yes, I'm sure there's probably stuff in the can already.
Right.
There's plenty of stuff. But the good news is that as of yesterday, WGA and AMPTP did resume talks. So there is the possibility of good news. So let's keep our fingers crossed for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I wasn't sure why she just specifically said LGBTQ plus, because I think all across the board, like you said, stories are people aren't going to be able to have their creative stories told. But I am happy that they're putting AI in there because that is, I don't think it's there yet, like you said, but it's probably close enough that it's coming down the way.
By the time
People,
the
that's pretty
next
scary.
contract rolls around, this will be over, so it's good for them to get protections in this time.
Yeah. I mean, it's even happening with songwriting now. I mean, you could write a song that like Joan Jett and Stevie Nicks wrote, and you could put that into AI, and AI will write a song pretty good that could be with those two influences.
Yeah, pretty good though.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. but not
Nothing you right.
Yeah.
One saving grace is that I think recently a judge has ruled that, the Copyright Office ruled that AI-generated art cannot be copyrighted. You cannot own it. So, in other words, if Disney decide to use an all AI staff, everything they produce is copyright free.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Nice
That's something that will be interesting to see as like I said, the next 3-4 years as technology progresses. We did a story here on the show a few months ago, late spring, that it was either HRC or OUT, or one of the big groups looked at LGBTQ, to your point, LGBTQ plus representation in media, in entertainment media. And honestly, we held steady year to year, and we've held steady year to year for a few years. I think the fear is that the plateau will start to decline, because this has gone on for 4.5 months now. And shows that had been in the spring had been renewed for a second season or renewed for a third or whatever season. They've just been canceled. Shows that were on the borderline.
That's true.
So there's going to be some cancellations. And this is a prolonged strike at this point. But to those who say, how long will it go on? It will go on until there's fairness. Okay? We're not a union shop. And news in general has been pretty much exempt from this. None of us here are WGA, but we stand with the people who are. I have several friends that are in the union, the East Coast one, and they're hurting. And so we need to get back to work, but we need to get back to when it's fair. So, and I just want to say, and I know this isn't really on the topic, I'm just basically talking about our brothers and sisters in the unions. Drew Barrymore, thank you for listening and doing the right thing. To Mr. Bill, now is not the real time to get back to work.
Nice.
Sit down, stand with your union.
Yeah. Next, let's queer up the U.S. view. Census Bureau requests permission to ask about sexual orientation and gender identity. The U.S. Census Bureau is asking for the administration for permission to test questions about sexual orientation and gender identity for people age 15 and above on its most comprehensive annual survey of life in the country. The statistical agency wants to test wording, response categories, and placement of gender identity and sexual orientation questions in the American Community Survey, which collects data from 3.5 million households each year. The ACS covers a wide range of topics from family life, income, education levels, and employment to commuting items, internet access, disabilities, and military service. an economics professor at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, said the questions will help learn about health, economic, housing, and other outcomes that might be worse for the community. The professor said due to the stigma and discrimination the community faces, researchers can track changes over time to see if laws and policies are leading to more equality. The Census Bureau already has requested millions of dollars to study how best to ask about sexual orientation and gender identity. The results could provide much better data about LGBTQ plus population nationwide. I think that it's great that they're including this so there's a place and there's a spot and people are able to say who and where they are, so the problems and the issues can actually be counted, where maybe before they weren't even recognized.
Yeah.
Wasn't it on the wasn't there something added to the 2020 census regarding same-sex households?
There was something that was going to be out, and then Trump wanted it out, and then Biden. But this is more of the annual, easier to track year to year rather than decade to decade.
Well, and as long as the information isn't misused, I think there's potential for good to come of this. But it also makes me a little paranoid.
Yes, me too.
Yeah,
me too. I'm scared. Like, I want it because then we know there's a larger population of us out there, and when we get those numbers, it becomes scarier for them. But what are you doing with that information? Like, you know where we are now. Like, you know how to target us now. You know what cities we're in. So that's the scary part. I don't know what they're going to use this for.
I believe that by law, these data is only for research purposes, and they cannot record names.
Okay.
That makes us feel better.
Yeah.
Oh, remember when Trump tried to stick a citizenship question under the census and he got shut down? That's the reason. They cannot ask individuals who participate in the census on what kind of nationality they are, or whether they are actual U.S. citizens or not, because they do not want, the general fear is that a conservative administration is going to use that to enforce unjust immigration policies. So there's a kind of a legal war between, census data and government administration. They can use it for studying, they can tally up things, but not like, here's a pile of data.
Right. I think it's important that we're just asking the questions.
Yeah.
To be honest, you referenced the controversy back in 2018, 2019 when they were putting together the survey. Just this year, the governor, they used to do a survey up in Jacksonville that they gave to students. It wasn't U.S. Census, this was a Florida thing, but they were, to ask them about a variety of things that included sexual orientation, that discussed suicide, very important teen topics. And the state of Florida, the education department, who does the bidding of fascist Governor Ron DeSantis, they came in and said, no, we're not going to do this survey anymore. We're not even going to ask the questions because we don't want to know the real data out there. They're happy thinking how it is, how they want it to be, and they don't want any evidence to contradict them.
The lack of data is the absence of any information. For example, some red states don't collect hate crime data because then they can say that hate crime doesn't exist. What do you think? What do you mean hate crime? I haven't recorded a single case of hate crime.
So, but this just draws a contrast between the Florida terribleness, the government that just wants to put its head in the sand and say, you can't see me, versus the national government, which is still fortunately much more balanced, with both parties at the top. And they're saying, yeah, we're going to go ahead and ask these questions. So thank God they're asking the questions, because if ignorance is bliss, Florida is the happiest state in America.
Well, speaking of, let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Florida GOP fights to protect children against LGBTQ+, so they can make them work overnight. A Republican Florida House member has introduced a bill to remove some restrictions on people under the age of 18 working, which includes letting them work longer hours. The proposed bill is part of a nationwide trend aimed at weakening child labor protection laws. The new bill, HB 49, would remove part of the state law that says 16 and 17-year-olds can't work before 6:30 a.m. or after 11 p.m. or for more than 8 hours when school is scheduled the next day, the same hours as a person 18 or older. Civil rights attorney Alejandro Caraballo says the bill would gut child labor laws and allow minors to work full-time and overnight. The bill was filed by House Republican Linda Cheney, and if passed in the next session, will take effect on July 1st, 2024. I don't know. I'm a little on the fence here because I started working very young. I know how it benefited me and my family, but I understand in terms of child labor laws how that can be taken and abused. So I don't know how to comment on this. I really, really don't. I say just like, the situation with our house, right? The parents did what they had to do or what they want to do with their child. If there's an approval with the parent, then live on. But again, I know how this can be abused, so I really don't know where I stand on this.
So then you wonder, it's like, does this mean they're going to be working in factories?
Right, exactly.
Is this like we're going back to
Florida.
Charles Dickens time or something?
Right.
So I really want to know, is this why the Florida GOP is against abortion? Because they want to increase the size of the labor force? Could that be it?
This is not new. I mean, for once, Florida is not the pioneer of shit, because this has come out of Arkansas. Oh, wow. And Lydia, also known as Sarah, whatever her name is, the governor, that means she signed laws to rescind child protection. And along the lines, I think it was rescinded in several other red states as well. I mean, they are an expose after expose coming out from the news. It's like children are being overworked. Children are being forced to work overnight shifts or in factories.
And these are states with Republican governors, of course.
But what does overworked mean? I'm sorry. What does overworked mean? Like where?
I mean, look, a child needs what, 6 hours to go to school? And then you work on top 8 hours on top of that? That's 14 hours. That's at least 10 hours.
So this is for owners of companies and management to schedule a person of this age. Is that what we're talking about? Oh, got it.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this in any way family friendly?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think that I think it is probably the parent should probably decide. I'm not even sure why this is even coming up. Like, why are they even doing this as a law? Like, why are they trying to change that? I think that's backwards. Like are they? I mean, I'm with you. Like, is it benefiting the kids because they get to work some more and make some more money, or?
Actually,
I'm not.
Actually, I want to point out that recently it's a roundabout way it makes sense. Recently, there's a billionaire who says that we need unemployment to jump 50% because now workers are being too entitled and they are supposed to be working for the employer, not for themselves. That's the kind of mindset. By unleashing more labor force in the form of child labor into the labor force, they want to basically hike up the unemployment rate by getting rid of what they would consider overpaid workers and let children to substitute them.
I've said on here before that we seem to be refighting all the civil rights battles that we thought we had won.
Yeah, exactly.
Gay rights.
Yeah.
Everything from the 60s and 70s that we had won. It was settled. And now what are we doing? We're refighting abortion laws. We're refighting, women's rights. But now, no, that's not good enough for the Republican fascists. Oh, no. They need to go back 115 years to the first progressive revolution when Theodore Roosevelt, also a Republican, by the way, said no to, children working in sweatshops, no to bad education. Well, Governor DeSantis has already made a point to say education is not a priority in the state of Florida. Education is way down, and we're going to dumb that down even more.
What the Census means is put a priority on vocational training. They don't want you to learn critical thinking. They do not want you to think for yourself. They want you to learn how to press button B, button C, and repeat ad nauseum, because all they want is a sentient robot who basically can press buttons and then don't know anything about politics.
Well, now I don't want to get into conspiracy theory because
we're close.
It was so crazy someplace else. But I will buy in to a very easily predictable cause and effect. When rents go up, families' wages don't. So, okay, so now the kid needs to take a job at 16 after school. And after school jobs are great. They teach you a lot, but they should be part-time. And I disagree. I don't think they should be overnight whatsoever, even if the parents say it's okay.
Well, true.
Kids shouldn't be working
You're right.
overnight. If your town has a curfew, if you need to be off work at 11 o'clock, you're off work at 11 o'clock. This is not family friendly. So now the kids are going to work to help the family struggle to keep their 2-bedroom apartment, which is heinously overpriced. Again, not a conspiracy, but an easily predictable chain of events.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I think all of these topics are, why are we even revisiting these? Like the drag thing and the kids, children's work hours. All of it should just have we already decided it. Why are we going back?
Yeah.
Why are we fighting it again?
Because the progressive of yesterday is fodder for the regressive of today.
Amen. Next, let's queer up politics. Actor's skit about mom tearing down pride flag shared as real by MTG.
Hey! Not. Wait, what are you doing? Not. Stop that. I am not paying I am not paying my tax money to support. Get out of this type of now. Why do you have this hanging? And why do you have this hanging up in kids' It's part of the students. No, it's not part of anything. That is uncalled for. We are paying you to teach history, and that's what you need to be teaching. Excuse me, this is a public school, little lady. You are excused. You are. Do you see what's on this side? No. This needs to go exactly where it is, in the garbage. You need to go in the garbage. I'm teaching my son to grow up to be a man. And I don't want you hanging no flag. I'm calling security. Hanging a flag up for you to sit up there and teach them the type of stuff I'm trying to keep them away from.
I told you what would happen. I told you somebody here gonna get mad.
You need to be teaching history. 33, please. No, you need to be teaching history. Shut up. No, get out. I'm not getting out of nowhere. I'm not getting out of nowhere. Hey, no, you don't tell my son to shut up. You talking to me. Your son is failing. My son ain't failing. He needs to be failing because you got a flag hanging up of you over the United States of America. You need.
U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has shared a video of an outraged mother confronting a teacher over the display of an LGBTQ plus pride flag in a classroom. However, the video was staged, and Greene seems not to have realized that. Greene shared only a brief clip of the video showing the mother taking down the flag, which was covering a map of the United States, and asking the teacher why it was hanging there. The mother says, quote, "This needs to go in the garbage," end quote. She said she's teaching her son to be a man, and the instructor should stick to teaching history. The video shows the mother and the teacher arguing for several minutes over who has the right to do what in the classroom. The video's on Facebook, and toward the end, its creator, comedian Jabrizi, reveals it's a skit and asks viewers for their comments. Some pointed out the situation playing out wasn't real, but Greene stuck to her narrative, commenting, quote, "This is a fake or a skit. It's a very good representation of exactly how people feel," end quote. Okay, so first Lauren Boebert gets booted from the theater for giving a dude a handy, and then MTG gets punked by a video director and his cast of bad actors. Okay, maybe they should just stick to watching Davy and Goliath and Veggie Tales videos for entertainment and enlightenment.
Look, first of all, at least Lauren Boebert has a very good chance of being unseated next cycle. MTG, I'm not sure she was going to stick around like that old white racist senator back in the day, Jesse Helms, stuck around for 1,000 years. And that's where we are going to be. We are going to get stuck with legislators who want to peddle nothing but ignorance and hatred. Great job, Republicans. Great job.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we are all in this together, but I also feel like I'm a little removed, because when I saw the video, I know that there was these kind of skits going around, but when I first saw the video, I took a step back and I was like, oh shit, is this real? Like, can't believe this happened. Why does the teacher have a huge pride flag behind them? It just did not make sense to me. That's the reason why I started doing more research, because it doesn't seem right that a history teacher would have a pride flag sitting behind them and that a mom would show up to a classroom and yell that way. That was the only way that I was able to kind of further research to see if it was a skit, because if not, I would have believed it. The problem here is that this trailer trash MTG lady is putting this out there, and there's a lot of people following her. It doesn't matter how long that video is, they're going to believe it, and she's going to rile that base.
Yeah.
And it's going to create more divisiveness. And that's the part that pisses me off. There was supposed to be a conversation after this skit, right? It's supposed to kind of drive up, conversation. What it did was allow her to put this on her fucking, on her platform.
More fodder.
And yeah, exactly. And that's the part that pisses me off, because I'm smart enough to be like, that seems a little off. But this trailer trash hole does not understand, and it doesn't matter because she still won in that regard.
Right.
But the problem here is not just divisiveness. It's violence. I mean, these are the same people who, the same people who follow her are the same people who follow Lips on TikTok, Elon Musk. Hate.
Well, and the people who shot that store owner in California.
These people, they don't say they want violence. They just want to imply it. They're wanting people to go out and commit violence against our community. But they're going to be like, I didn't say anything about it. First Amendment.
Yeah, I mean, I think there absolutely should have been the discussion afterwards, because I think that I agree with you, everyone, that there's a lot of people that would think it was real. A lot of people. So if you don't have that discussion, and if the woman has a lot of followers, then I think it just totally does the opposite of what the guy that made the video originally intended it for. Yeah. I mean, there was nothing on there that to make you think it might not be real, except if you were smart enough to think, why would that be there?
The only reason I thought that it could be a fake was because there was a previous skit with someone fighting on an airplane, and I thought it was real as well, and I was like, oh, these skits are going around.
Right.
It was like, go ahead.
No, you were talking about being smart enough, people being smart enough to realize it. And that's really the key, isn't it?
Lowest common denominator, right?
That is the key. I mean, Marjorie Green doubling down on ignorance. Quick poll, is anyone at this table surprised? Anybody?
No.
Anybody?
And my surprise page.
And I don't. and I love that surprise.
Yeah,
That's your blue steel. It's your blue steel, Bobby. Trademark that after the show. Steve, I don't know. Can we bring back just a still shot, like of that wide shot of the video? If not, okay. So you look on the right here. Okay, how can you not know this? This looks like the opening of a scripted porn series or a porn. I mean, just a podium plunked down there, no desk. This beige covered wall with a bad map. I mean, this is like, and no, I'm not going to let you do. No, this is like. Conservative parody porn. Yeah. That's what I can call this. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm Jonathan. I'll be honest. I'm not really as mad at MTG as you are about this. I'm honestly just more amused. Like I said, doubling down on ignorance. You can never go wrong in that particular Georgia district. Well, forget Georgia. Greater Fort Lauderdale is known for its stunning beaches. But it's away from the seashore and on the waterways that the region truly reveals itself as a waterfront paradise. In a region so rich with waterway attractions, you can't lose no matter how you cruise. To see the center of Greater Fort Lauderdale from an entirely new perspective, including the mind-blowing mansions and mega yachts of Millionaires Row, hop on the water taxi. Visit the many dockside dining options or grab a seat for the annual Winterfest Boat Parade. Visit Lauderdale, everyone under the sun.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with the Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at the Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral Sunday every Sunday international service at 10:30 a.m.
Well, we finished tonight's queer news headlines with a segment we, and hopefully you, will call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up education. Batman historian said gay in lessons to students, was asked to censor himself. Mark Tyler Nobleman was supposed to talk to kids about the secret co-creator of Batman, to inspire young students in suburban Atlanta's Forsyth County to research and write. Then the school district told him not to share the artist he helped rescue from obscurity had a gay son. Rather than acquiesce, he canceled the last of his talks. In a telephone interview, Nobleman said, quote, "We are long past the point where we should be policing people talking about who they love. And that's what I am hoping will happen in this community," end quote. State laws restricting talk of sexual orientation and gender identity in schools have increased in recent years. But this incident shows schools may be limiting such discussion even in states that have not officially banned them.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up lesbian culture. As lesbian bars across the country close, Chicago's Black-owned Nobody's Darling expands. 2 years ago, Nobody's Darling broke the mold of LGBTQ plus bars in Chicago, and the tavern was named a James Beard Award finalist. Now, the Welcoming Neighborhood Tavern, after more than 9 months of anticipation, is unveiling an expansion that will nearly double its capacity. Co-owner Renata Riddle and business partner Angela Barnes unveiled the new space on Wednesday with an opening event so people could tour what was once the bar's neighboring space. The expansion nearly doubled the seating, and a second bar in the new lounge style creates an extra wiggle room for both bartenders and customers. Yay!
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up business. LGBTQ plus Media Coalition expresses excitement for Press Forward Fund to support local media. Members of News is Out, a collaboration of 6 legacy LGBTQ plus media organizations across the country, are supporting and excited about the newly announced national Press Forward effort to support local media in the United States. News is Out members represent more than 200 years of LGBTQ plus news and culture coverage, with 2 member papers starting more than 50 years ago. Tracy Bain, co-founder of Windy City Times, said, quote, "This new effort from foundations, including the MacArthur Foundation and Knight Foundation, will truly be a game changer in the local media space," end quote. The fund will enhance local journalism, recenter local news as a force for community cohesion, and close long-standing inequities in journalism coverage and practice.
LGBTQ plus 1-minute news. Let's queer up entertainment. Hallmark announces Christmas lineup including queer romance, fake dating. The Christmas movie season is nearly here, and there are so many presents under the proverbial tree. Hallmark releases Countdown to Christmas preview, and we've got a queer holiday movie on the way. Ali Liebert and Humberly Gonzalez will star in fake dating. If it's a queer setup, fake romance with our queen Ali Liebert, we know it'll have the holiday magic Hallmark loves. And it means a happy ending is nearly a given. But don't let that take away your enjoyment of a simple, queer-forward holiday romance you can watch with your parents, because that's not weird.
LGBTQ plus 1-minute news. Let's queer up courts. Suspect arrested in vandalism at 2 Orlando LGBTQ plus centers. Police have arrested a suspect in connection with vandalism at 2 LGBTQ plus community centers in Orlando last month. Police announced on social media that officers arrested Matthew Michael Robinson and charged him with 3 counts of criminal mischief. Police want an enhancement of the charges for evidence of prejudice during the commission of these crimes. Late last month, police were called to Zebra Youth and the LGBT Plus Center, Orlando, where murals had been spray painted with homophobic and transphobic messages and Nazi symbolism. Heather Wilkie of Zebra Youth thanked the Orlando Police Department, saying, quote, "We have confidence that justice will be served, and we will continue to show that we will not let hate win," end quote. That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm John Hayden, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including J.D. Danner, Dr. Bobby Huen, Jonathan Casanas, and honorary Dr. Gregg Shapiro. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a very good night.